All right. Who doesn't like to start the IIDA annual meeting with a little Stevie Wonder? Thank you, Park West Strings, for adding some grace and elegance. Here we are again. Good afternoon, IIDA members and special guests. I'm Cheryl Durst, the Executive Vice President and CEO of IIDA, and I'm honored to welcome everyone to the 21st annual meeting of the International Interior Design Association. Right? Each of you, along with IIDA members who are participating via live stream this afternoon, represent 58 countries and IIDA's largest membership to date. We now have more than 15,000 members. And I'm really pleased and honored to announce the addition of our newest chapter. They become officially incorporated on July 1. We wanted to time their inauguration as a chapter before Barack Obama was out of office. It got a little iffy on both sides for a moment. I'm pleased to announce the Hawaii Pacific chapter. And there they are. Would Alana Yasui and Laverne Kawakami please stand? There they are, back there. And Hawaii Pacific represents our 35th IIDA chapter. Aloha and mahalo. And everybody's going to want to do our chapter leadership conference in Honolulu at some point, I'm sure. And manufacturers, go ahead and chuckle, because don't think I'm going to be hitting you up. Thanks so much to each of you for joining us this afternoon here in Chicago and at various points across the world. Now, those of you who are veterans, and I'm talking to you, Richard Pollock and Ken Wilson, you know that my annual meeting promise to you is we will keep this meeting energized, entertaining, and relatively fast-paced. In exchange, you know what I'm going to ask. Please silence your cell phones, your beepers, anything that buzzes, tweets, beeps. Suzanne Molina, you and the crickets on your phone. Just turn that stuff off. Put it on silent. You can do all your social media and posting, but just do it silently. And for those of you who are live streaming, you can make all the noise that you would like to. So you know what to expect at our annual meeting. We will shortly hear for the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to listen to him for 45 minutes, but he's only the international president for another 45 minutes, Julio Braga, and he's going to give his final presidential address, and then you're going to hear some very important and intriguing association business conducted, smirk, smirk, and a public celebration of our successes over the past year, and the acknowledgement of association honors with recognition for some truly exceptional members of our profession and the design community. And then, of course, we're going to induct our new International Board of Directors. Now, many of you have said to me, we don't know who the International Board is, we don't know what they look like, so seriously, for the next, 75, 90 minutes or so, look at them. There they are. That is the current board and the incoming board. So now you know what they look like. On behalf of the International Board, I do offer a very special welcome to all of our members, our corporate members, our friends, and our guests. As always, I'm very honored that we have in our audience many of the organizations with which we are very closely aligned to help support design excellence and the built environment. In the audience today, we have leaders from CIDA, from CIDQ, from IDEC, hey, Dr. Pamela Evans, from IDC, from AAHID, from AIA, and from BIFMA. Earlier, with our chapter leaders, they were in session all day yesterday, we talked about the importance of public gratitude and recognition. So we're going to have some public gratitude and recognition right now. I'd like to acknowledge and recognize the leaders of this association. So many of you know, that, and you've heard earlier when we talked about it ad nauseum at our 20th anniversary, and you know from our website and you know from all of our documents, that IIDA was created when 3 organizations merged in 1994. We would like to recognize, as always, the leaders who served in the predecessor organizations. So here's what's going to happen. When I name either you or your affiliation with IIDA, I'm going to ask you to stand, and you can't sit down. You have to stay standing, right? All right. We're going to see how many people we can get on their feet. So if you were a part of the unified voice effort that ultimately merged the 3 organizations, please stand. We're going to clap for you. All right, up front I can see Cheryl Duvall and Carol Jones and Sandy Reagan. Hi, Sandy, thank you for being here, so stay standing. Would the past international presidents of IIDA, as well as any past international board members of IIDA in the audience, please stand? And always, we thank you for your continued service to the organization. We'd also like to recognize the members of the IIDA College of Fellows that are with us today. Would you please stand if you are a fellow in IIDA? Some of you are about to be fellowed. So Joey Shimoda, this will be you standing next year. Would members of the CLC please stand and be recognized? Chapter presidents, presidents-elect, and chapter board members. Chapter leaders, as always, thank you so much for your tremendous unpaid work hours, also known as volunteer hours, and the leadership that you provide to your chapters and to this association. After the hours of meetings and serving on committees and putting your firm's billing code for miscellaneous to use for IIDA, thank you. We are eternally grateful. Will the IIDA headquarters staff please stand and be recognized and stay standing? My team. Would any honorary members of the association please stand? Would anybody who is my Facebook friend please stand? Would anybody that is a member of IIDA and you didn't fall into any of those previous groups, please stand. Corporate member, student member. If you are married to me, please stand. Hey, Troy Durst. If you are the spouse, significant other, special invited guest of anyone who is being honored today, please stand. And for those who are spouses, significant others, invited guests, thank you for the extra time and support you lend to anyone who supports this organization, because none of us do this half-assedly, which means we're half-assedly doing other things so that we can whole-assedly support IIDA. And yeah, right? And if you are receiving an honor or an award in a few minutes on this stage, please stand. Is there anybody left sitting? Awesome. Oh, Trevor, you please, stand up. Thank you all very much. Now you may be seated. So normally at this part of the meeting, I talk about our theme and how it resonates for IIDA. And I honestly would do that now, but my remarks are in my purse. Back at that, they are actually. We got so worked up with what we're doing, but we are talking about place, however. And you will all notice, I hope you all received, you got a nifty little gift, a locator pin. You are here. And this notion of place is so critical to who we are as human beings. And if you think about all those phrases that we use, being in the right place at the right time, put yourself in his place or her place. Come on up to my place. Find your place. We're exploring this notion of place at IIDA, and it's intrinsically important to all of us because what we do is about place and that connection that human beings have to place. And as long as place remains vital, both emotionally and intellectually and economically, we will forever have a reason to be. And through exploring this notion of place, our Neocon booth is about finding your space and finding your place. And so, of course, subtly, we want all of you to think and know and realize that your place is always IIDA. But your place is this profession as well. There's this beautiful, fine, thin, red line that connects us all. It connects us through our hearts and through our souls and through our minds. And it's that ability to do what we all do. And I know it's very easy to say we solve problems, all the things that designers do, but what we do is we don't just create a place. We create the experience that happens in those places. And that makes us better and richer as human beings. And personally, I am so grateful to every one of you that calls yourself a designer, because it doesn't mean you just get up and you just go to work. Because what you do, I'm gonna sound hokey for a minute, but it is in fact a higher calling. You make us better and you make the world better and you give us place. So thanks to each and every one of you for making place not just a concept, but a very real thing for all of us. Thank you. And in this world that we live in, we know that BuzzFeed and PlayBuzz, you can take a quiz for almost anything. Well, IIDA has its own PlayBuzz quiz that can be found online, but don't do that now while you're sitting at the annual meeting. But we encourage you to take our PlayBuzz quiz about determining what kind of place are you. So have fun with that. Now, please join me in bringing Julio Braga to the podium to deliver his presidential remarks.
See me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
I made it through I had all kinds of grand plans at some point to be someplace and break out into me and Julio down by the schoolyard. And seriously, this is Julio and I yesterday. Finding a park, our cab driver took the photo. We sent it to the folks that are back in the booth who put it in this presentation, and I finally get to have my me and Julio down by the schoolyard moment, just in the nick of time. So I've spent the better part of this year with Julio Braga, and it has been lively, it's been invigorating, it's been fun, and Julio Braga to date is our only trilingual president. Julio is from Buenos Aires, so obviously speaks Spanish. He speaks English, and he speaks Italian fluently, sometimes. And when Julio can't come up with an appropriate word or phrase in any of those three languages, he says, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that that's written into any of his remarks, but please join me in welcoming, for his presidential address, Julio Braga. All right.
Thank you, Cheryl, for your kind introduction. My deepest thanks go also to you, IIDA chapters, board members, and staff, for your trust and support during my tenure as president of the International Board. It has been my privilege to represent you. I would also like to extend a special thanks to our members who are leaving the board this year. Viveka Bisonet, Suzanne Molina, and Enrique Reyes. Thank you for your time, contributions, and friendship. We're going to miss you a lot. I would like to also to express my gratitude to my colleagues at IA Interior Architects for their encouragement and ongoing support of my work with IIDA. If I were to describe this past year in one sentence, I would say it has been a year of strengthened ties and expanded horizons for IIDA. On the home front, our chapters continue to thrive and impress with the excellence of their organizational events, competitions, and educational forums. During the past year, I had the pleasure of participating on the 15th student conference organized by our stellar Texas-Oklahoma chapter in Houston. By any criteria and in every aspect, this conference was fantastic. Its large number of participants, perfectly planned logistics, variety of activities, the relentless hard work and contagious energy of chapter members, staff, and volunteers made this event a total success. Events like this one and countless others across the country were not just interesting and instructive, they were inspiring. On the international front, the past year brought some new and promising developments in our global outreach. Specifically, our international activities this year included a continued presence at Orgatech in Cologne and Maison & Objet in Paris. We also developed and formalized our relationship with 3 important design organizations in Italy and took our first step into the Latin American market. These new initiatives were made possible by the dedication, hard work, and passion of 2 IIDA members in particular, Federico Del Rosso in Milan and Patricia Rotondo in Chicago and Bogota, Colombia. Federico Del Rosso was appointed as the first member of the President's Council last August. His work and knowledge of the interior design profession in Italy has been central to our productive collaboration. It began with It began with a designers' roundtable in Milan last December and continued with the signing of a memorandum of understanding in April with 3 Italian associations, CNAPPC, the National Council of Architects, Urban Planners, Landscape Architects and Conservationists, OAPPC, the Order of Architects of Milan and its province, and ADI, the Industrial Design Association. Together, these groups represent thousands of practicing interior design professionals. In October of this year, a panel of US and Italian designers will meet to discuss topics related to the globalization of design and inter-country collaboration. The discussion will be streamed live in the same way this annual meeting is being streamed today. Patricia Rotondo worked closely with Dennis Krause and Marlene Liriano to organize IIDA's participation in 2 important presentations in Bogota last month. One to architectural students at the Universidad Javeriana, and another to attendees of the Design and Construction Show at Corferias. I would like to thank Patricia for her tireless efforts in making these presentations possible, and for giving Cheryl, Marlene, and I our first opportunity to do an IIDA presentation in a language other than English. This important introduction to designers and students in Bogota was step one of an exploratory process that would hopefully result in the establishment of IIDA's first chapter in Latin America. On both the home and international fronts, IIDA's presence was greatly enhanced, and my personal involvement as president was made much more productive and rewarding because of the leadership and day-to-day efforts of Cheryl, Dennis, and their dedicated staff in Chicago. I am grateful to all of you for making this an incredible year, and I look forward to our continued collaboration in the future. Finally, I would like to say that I'm very proud of the accomplishments of IIDA on behalf of interior design professionals and students, and I hope you all share that pride. It is your work that made it happen. Thank you very much.
Each year, we have the honor and privilege to publicly thank and acknowledge the various members and friends of IIDA, as well as the luminaries in their fields of design for their achievements in the various segments of our profession. This year's honorees are a premier group whose accolades are quite well deserved. Recipients, when your name is announced, please come to the podium to accept your award. Audience, you may clap and cheer wildly. Yeah, that's you.
Yeah.
Go
Break.
Go for it.
Right. Our first award of the afternoon is the IIDA Titan Award, which recognizes outstanding service and contribution to the interior design profession by a design-related individual, company, or organization. This year's award is proudly presented to Patricia Orchiola, Studio Orchiola.
Say something. All right. We just chat a little bit up here. So.
I keep like this?
If it's too heavy, I can hold it for you. Is it good? Patricia is a native of Oviedo, Spain, and currently resides in Milan, Italy. She graduated from the Faculty of Architecture at the Polytechnic University of Madrid and the Polytechnic University of Milan. Throughout her career, she has partnered with design notables Achille Castiglioni, Eugenio Bettinelli, and Vico Magistretti as head of the Lisoni Associates Design Group. She opened her own studio in Milan in 2001, where she currently works on product design, architecture, interiors, installation, and concept creation. Her clients include some of the most globally recognized companies like Alessi, B&B Italia, Four Seasons Hotel, Cartel, Mandarin Oriental Hotel, W Hotels, and Hayward, who's well represented in the audience today. In her amazing career, she has been celebrated for her work. She has been awarded the Gold Medal of Fine Arts by the government of Spain, as well as the Order of Isabella by King of Spain, Juan Carlos I. She has been named Designer of the Decade by 2 German publications and Designer of the Year by Wallpaper and Elle Decor International. She was inducted into the Interior Design Magazine Hall of Fame in 2011. Please join me in congratulating Patricia Orchiola, IIDA, our 2015 IIDA Titan Award winner.
I say something? Yes.
Of course, you have to.
The important thing is that all those prizes for someone from this community, I'm going to tell you. First, I want to say just I want to share the prize, obviously, with Alberto, which is my partner in life and work, with and my Studio Orchiola, with Hayward, which they make my American dream, and that's fantastic. But I want to say that I want to share with this design community we are here because of something. I think, you know, there is part of society which they have a kind of mind that is always focused on projects and focused on solutions, and they are very convergent. And then you give a problem, and they solve the problem, and they are, when they are good, they are genius. And then they are the other ones, which are us. We are divergent. Then they give us a problem, we have to replace, argument is place, echo, and we say, okay, we have a solution. But we begin to think, and we have imagination, associations, many other things. And the divergence in our mind make us go through many ways, many times very hard way to find solutions. But when we get it, we do a shift, because we are a little bit, you know, this kind of, even the problem becomes another problem, then we solve something else different. Then I want to share that with you, because we are the one that we do that kind of changes, and I think we have to be very proud to be this kind of community. Ciao.
Grazie mille. Grazie mille. Ciao. This is me again, right? Congratulations again, Patricia. This is you.
Yep, now you move.
That was a short thing.
Oh, you know, we got to do the thing. Congratulations, Patricia. And I, too, would love to just stand here and say, ecco. If you have not already signed up, Patricia is very much in demand during NeoCon, and she actually is the Monday morning IIDA keynote tomorrow morning. The program is sold out with almost 700 reservations. So we are very lucky to have her here with us this afternoon. So again, congratulations, and thank you, Patricia, and thank you, Hayworth. Our next award, the IIDA Star Award, was created in 1995 to publicly and professionally recognize and celebrate the contributions that have significantly impacted the interior design industry by either an individual or an organization. This year, we are pleased to honor Yves Bahar, founder and CEO of Fuse Project, an integrated design and branding firm that he established in 1999. He is the Chief Creative Officer of Jawbone, winner of the 2010 IDSA Design of the Decade Award, and he is the co-founder of August, the next generation home entry system. He is probably best known for his strong and consistent belief that design is and should be a force for positive social and environmental change. His humanitarian work includes the One Laptop Per Child program, which to date has given more than 2.5 million well-designed laptops to children in developing countries, and the See Better to Learn Better program, which distributes free corrective eyewear to school children in Mexico and California. The See Better to Learn Better was just profiled. It was just a couple of weekends ago on the design edition of CBS Sunday Morning. And my fabulous executive assistant, Elizabeth Cooley, texted me at like 7:45. He's going to be on. He's going to be on. For each of these efforts, Yves has been honored with the Index Award, which makes him the only designer to have received this award twice. And the Index Award is designed to improve life, and it's a Danish not-for-profit organization which works toward promoting designs aimed at the improvement of people's lives worldwide in developed and developing countries. His collaborations with renowned partners include Herman Miller, GE, Puma, PayPal, SodaStream, Samsung, Issey Miyake, Prada, Nivea, and so many others. His work has been included in the permanent collections, of museums worldwide, including MoMA, the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, the Pompidou Center, and the Art Institute of Chicago. Remind me to tell some of you over drinks later about Hilda Longinati wanting to put his well-designed vibrator on tables at the Leaders' Breakfast in New York. Just a little footnote there for you. He speaks, Sunday morning footnote. He speaks frequently about design, sustainability, and entrepreneurialism, and he's given TED Talks and has spoken at the World Economic Forum in Davos. He is currently the artist trustee of the board of directors of the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art and has garnered over 200 plus awards and has been named a top 25 visionary by Time magazine. And most recently, he was named the most influential industrial designer in the world by Forbes. He's truly a trailblazer in our world and has made a name for himself by taking risks, having a high level of integrity, knowing when to say no, and focusing on the future of design. In the spirit of this award, Yves Behar has most certainly elevated the practice of design throughout the world. And on behalf of IIDA, I'm thrilled and honored to celebrate Yves Behar as our 2015 Star Award recipient.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Long intro.
It's a really long intro, but you don't know.
Thank you.
So we can hold on to these.
Okay. You want me to speak first?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That was a long intro. I was turning redder and redder here in the audience, and it was great to see Patricia a few seconds ago too. It's actually really cool for me to be back here in the Museum of Contemporary Art. This is where we launched a sail chair a few years back, and there was in parallel there was a Calder exhibit, so it was kind of a very exciting moment for me. So I want to thank you, the IIDA. Thank you, Cheryl and Julio. It's a great honor to be recognized by a group of my peers, designers, architects, interior designers. I feel like a kid who's gotten like a gold star in school. It feels great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So these days there's honors and awards in design that come from all kinds of places, business magazines, lifestyle magazines, big companies, booze companies even. But being recognized by people who are your peers, people who sweat the details every day like I do, is really so great and so meaningful. When I was 16 years old, this is when I started, when I decided I wanted to be a designer. It was my chosen profession. The idea that I could contribute, to this new direction in my life, to where I wanted to go, was really special and a faraway, opportunity, a faraway promise. And this is what what was driving me then, and it's what's driving me now. But a lot has changed since I studied design at the Art Center College of Design in Pasadena. Design wasn't being praised for changing things back then. The idea that design is making a business better, or that design is making the world better, is making places, where people work or live better, that really wasn't a mainstream idea. To give you a little bit of context there, when I was in meetings in the mid-90s in Silicon Valley, there was always somebody in the room that would sort of raise their hand and ask me, what's the ROI on design? What's the return of investment on design? And so it wasn't on the radar of businesses. And the worst you could say to this question back then was, well, Apple is doing pretty good design. That would get you thrown out of the room, because in the 90s, Apple really wasn't, Apple and design really wasn't seen as something that moves the needle. And also, people and consumers had no idea what design was, certainly not what industrial design was. I would be telling people in the mid-90s, I'm an industrial designer, and they were pretty sure I was designing factories or assembly lines. So when I started my studio in 1999, it was really a simple idea, and it grew into a few big ones. I think about four. I'll be talking a little bit about here. I thought that trying to push those ideas would make a difference in my practice and make a difference in the practice of design in general. First, the name Fuse Project was about fusing the different disciplines of design, whether it's industrial design, furniture design, graphics, brand, digital work. I felt, we could just be more innovative and build better design and experiences, better ecosystems for design if the same idea was driving everyone, and if everyone was working together on those ideas. Second, I thought about reinventing the business model of design. I knew that the longer I worked with a company, the longer I worked with someone on a problem, the better it got. But it's very hard to propose to companies, let's work together for 10 years. It's quite expensive. So the better way, the different approach was to become a partner, to start what I call the design venture business. And Jawbone has been a partner for 13 years, Herman Miller for 12, SodaStream and many others are also in this lot. Third, the notion of sustainability, to bring it to the forefront of design. Whether it's with Puma or Herman Miller, we want to make sustainability invisible. Just deliver beautiful things that are efficient and that will last. And everybody in this room knows how hard it is to do so. And then the fourth one was taking design to new places, to the developing world in particular, where it can solve health and education issues. So fast forward from then, 1999 to now, I feel design is looked very, very differently today, 100 degrees different, in fact. But none of this happens in a vacuum. So this acceptance speech gives me the opportunity to count my blessings and say thank you to a few folks. First, my first job was with Bruce Burdick. So I have to thank you for getting me started and getting me to San Francisco. I got a great understanding of what a multidisciplinary studio was there. He built it very much like where I think his first job was at the Eames office, so he built it very much in line with the Eames office environment. And he also made me want to work on furniture. And furniture was so intimidating to me back then. I don't know why, but it felt like the highest calling, the things that were most complex, to mix, things that were completely structural, that have to maintain the entire body in a certain position, with great functionality and great efficiency. I got over it, and I got started on furniture a little later. Second is the people I want to thank are all the people at Herman Miller, who have been really an incredible partner for over 10 years. Building, at first we built a few lights, the leaf lamps and others, and then the public, and then the sail chair, of course, and then the public office landscape system. And with public, I really got into the idea of making a system of products, a system of furniture that would allow others to be creative. I thought most systems really were very formulaic in the way that you would organize and arrange them and what you could do with them. So, I think that architects and interior designers can create very different types of spaces with it, with the same building blocks. Functionally and visually, there is really a lot of uniqueness that you can build. So I want you to do a lot of different things with it. I hope you use it as a creative tool. When I started in design, Herman Miller was historically, the reference for American design. And by the way, when I moved to America in the early 90s, all my friends in Europe thought I was crazy. But Herman Miller really is all around the world, Herman Miller is sort of a beacon. When people think about Charles Eames, George Nelson, Noguchi, Bill Stumpf, you know, all these incredible, you know, designers, they are the sort of ultimate reference for design, but also for how you partner with a company, how you build great things over time. So it's been an amazing journey for me too, and I'm super thankful for the environment of innovation, vision, and complete support I've been getting, and I still get from Herman Miller. And then third, I want to thank my startup partners who, you know, are amazing at mixing great business and really put design people want at the forefront of what they do. You know, those guys at Jawbone in August are my co-pilots. They're my, you know, they're like my musketeers. We go into battle every day, trying to make things better, trying to build companies that mean something. You know, the August Smart Lock, which Cheryl mentioned, is really something that's fascinating for me, because when you bring technology and design into the home, most of the time it's distracting, it's heavy-handed, but to be able to control your home and do a lot more with it, without having to look at your phone, constantly in this sort of natural way, is something that is really fascinating. Is really the future. So I hope some of you try it, you know, and let me know how it goes. Fourth, there's another person who changed the course of my career and my work, and it's Nicholas Negroponte. With a one laptop per child, you know, not only he dedicated his life to do something amazing, to distribute millions of computers to people all around the world, but the other amazing thing that happened is it really inspired many non-governmental and governmental agencies to use design in a different way. And it led us to Verbian, the eyeglass program in Mexico. And they're distributing now 500,000 pairs of eyeglasses to kids every single day. I'm sorry, every single year. And they're doing it for free. And you know, these kids are not learning because they can't see. And design there makes the eyeglasses desirable, low cost, almost indestructible. And you know, obviously, and most importantly, none of this would be possible without my team at Fuse Project. You know, a few of these folks, you know, at Fuse have been with me with 10 years. Some of them 7, 8, 9. You know, it's the best team I could have ever imagined. And this IIDA over there is really for them. You know, Chin, Mitch, Logan, Angie, Noah, Mark, Noah, Christine, to just name a few. You know, thank you. And I would like you guys to clap for them too. So I'm happy to be on this design boat with all of you people. Compared to the 90s, I wish us all here to continue to design in a deeper, more partner-like, more sustainable, you know, design world. Instead of the superfluous, you know, skin-deep ask from clients, we will look for meaning, uniqueness. We will look for differentiation that comes from the inside out. As designers, makers, builders, I think we see beyond the traditional boundaries of design disciplines. In the 90s, you know, design became highly specialized. But what Charles Eames said 30 years earlier, what are the boundaries, his answer to the questions, what are the boundaries of design, was what are the boundaries of problems? Let's use that quote every day. And the more we do, the more we actually can do. So thank you for being so generous. Thank you to the IIDA. And thank you for having my team and I honored today. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you. This is yours. Great. Julio's got that for you. Are you able to stay? Okay, good. All right. Oh, it's your turn.
Thank you and congratulations, Yves. Today, we also have the pleasure of bestowing an award that uniquely recognizes the tireless and invaluable effort of interior design educators. The Educator of the Year Award, sponsored by Millikan, celebrates excellence in leadership in an interior design educator. I'm pleased to announce this year's honoree, Virginia Sanfratello, IIDA, who's the assistant professor and head of the interior design program at San Jose State University, an adjunct professor at the University of Queensland. Virginia, would you please join us?
Are you finished reading?
Mm-hmm.
You might have some more to say.
I have some more to say. Now to talk about you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Very there.
Virginia Sanfratello was selected for her extraordinary accomplishments and commitment to interior design education. She has more than a decade of experience in educating young designers and, most importantly, making them think. She's also the founder and chief creative officer of Emerging Objects, a design and research company that specializes in 3D printed materials and objects for the built environment. She's also a principal at Royal Sanfratello Architects. She began her career as an interior designer at PBC+L in Raleigh, North Carolina, and as a project architect at Tourette Collaborative Architects in New York City. She earned her Master's of Architecture degree from Columbia University and her Bachelor of Environmental Design degree from North Carolina State University. Her goal as an educator is to give students the knowledge, skills, and ideals to be creative leaders for the future. She believes that design for the 21st century should not only be about the user experience, but should also incorporate sustainable methods using local and ecological material resources. The passion with which she pursues her goals, sharing her knowledge and experience with her students and everyone around her, make us exceptionally proud to recognize her as the 2015 Educator of the Year. This award comes with a very special prize, in addition to the admiration of one's peers and the obvious prestige of the award. I would like to introduce Stacy Walker, the Global Director of Customer Experience for Millikan, to do the honors. Stacy, here we go, close.
Thank you, Julio. Excuse me. On behalf of Millikan, we are so proud to sponsor the Educator of the Year Award. As a corporation, our approach to innovation is driven by the purpose of doing good for the world, creating new experiences, and building for the future. We feel strongly that as educators and leaders in our industry, Professor Sanfratello and each of the Educator of the Year nominees embody those principles. At Millikan, we had particular interest in the fact that Virginia represents a new hybrid brand of designer, artist, scholar, and entrepreneur. She is at the forefront of teaching and using 3D printing. She recently developed and is productizing her own powders for 3D printing and applications for 3D printing with the student research assistants that she mentors. She and her students are also developing and testing new interior design concepts using their own 3D printed materials to design screens, freestanding walls, doors, and door hardware. She is recognized globally as an expert in this technology. We are delighted to support this prestigious award. Professor Sanfratello, Millikan is pleased to have the honor to present you with this cash award for $10,000 in recognition of your extraordinary efforts with students in the profession of design. On behalf of all of us at Millikan, congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. There are probably not very many professional organizations that honor educators, so I am deeply grateful to the International Interior Design Association. A special thank you to Millikan as well. You make this award even more desirable. I'd also like to thank the jurors who very kindly selected me from what I'm sure was a very talented and competitive pool. And I also want to thank my students and colleagues who aren't here, but they nominated me for this award, so I wouldn't be here without that belief that they have in me. I'm honored to be here to have the opportunity also just to speak briefly for a few minutes about what I believe the future of interior design education is. I believe design for the 21st century absolutely must incorporate sustainable methods and take advantage of local and ecological material resources. We're in an era of throwaway consumerism and overconsumption, excessive energy use, and too much waste. Designers have a responsibility to the public and the planet to change our mindset about what interiors are made of, how they function, and to inform the manufacturing processes used to fabricate and make the interior. We're at the beginning of a new paradigm for interior design, one that fully takes advantage of new technologies and low-energy manufacturing methods such as 3D printing. Tools like 3D printers allow for mass customization, which is the new frontier in business for both manufacturing and design. And at its core is a tremendous increase in variety and customization without a corresponding increase in cost. These tools will allow future designers to create highly customized environments that respond to individual needs, climate, and context in meaningful and value-added ways. Future interior designers will need to master the software and the hardware that allow them to take advantage of these new disruptive technologies that many of us have only recently gained access to. These tools leverage the value of skilled designers to enhance visualization, optimization, and simulation, and allow designers to minimize their use of raw materials and reduce energy consumption. Interior designers have the power, through something as simple as a paint color choice, to affect the climate of a room, which means less demand on HVAC systems, reduced consumption of fossil fuels. That means reduced greenhouse gases, decreased pollution. Sometimes the seemingly smallest choices do have global consequences, and interior designers do have the power to change the world, and it will still be beautiful. Thank you. Not yet.
Okay, I was hoping they were. Thank you, Milliken, and congratulations, Professor Sanfratello. So just another footnote aside. So when you stand sort of off stage with Julio Braga, sometimes you get Cheryl, and he chats while the meeting is going on. And I'm trying to watch the script, and I'm trying to watch what's going on, and keeping my eye on this corner over here, and maybe listen to the honorees while they're here at the podium. But Stacy, Julio, and I did have a moment. We were looking at Professor Sanfratello's shoes. They are the coolest shoes that we've seen, and all three of us, I think, were hoping that they were 3D printed shoes. So I asked her, and her answer was, not yet. So keep us posted on that one. Next, we're honored and excited to announce and present our first ever IIDA Student of the Year Award. This award recognizes students whose insight, involvement, and leadership have significantly impacted their school's interior design program. I'm pleased to present to you our inaugural recipient of Student of the Year, Ms. Tara Headley, student IIDA. Tara, would you join me on stage? Big hugs. Big hugs. Julio's supposed to be giving you your... Yeah, he's hugging you. He's supposed to be getting your certificate right now. You gotta keep... So, I'm not gonna lie to you, Tara, and people in the audience who know me probably know what I'm gonna say. And he's talking back there. It's an incredible honor to present this first award to a woman of color. A student, yes. For all the talk about lack of diversity in design, I'm glad that some of us on this stage and some of us in this room are testament to the fact that design is in fact diverse. It's not diverse enough, but it's diverse. Just a little aside. Tara is currently an MFA in interior design candidate at the Savannah College of Art and Design, Atlanta. Her undergraduate degree is from SCAD as well, where she graduated summa cum laude in the BFA program in Savannah. As the letters of recommendation for Tara were literally pouring in support of her receiving this award, it should be noted that the words motivated, passionate, leader, kind, determined, and most excellent were used repeatedly and consistently. She is a recipient of numerous awards from SCAD, including Outstanding Achievement Award, the Chairman's Award for the Most Outstanding Senior Project, and the Outstanding Service Project of the Year. Tara's projects are distinctly humane, innovative, and with a focus on cultural relevance, which is also her focus as a student and a young practitioner. So like the Educator of the Year award just given, this award also has a very respected patron. Doug Shapiro, will you join us at the podium? Doug Shapiro is the director of A&D for OFS Brands, and on behalf of OFS, he will present Tara with a special award.
Thank you, Cheryl. OFS is honored to be the sponsor of the IIDA Student of the Year Award. As a company, we're invested in both design excellence and ensuring the future of design, and Tara is emblematic of both of those things. Her academic success should be celebrated, as well as the future that she has in store. Tara, I wish I had one of those big foam checks. That's what I was counting on. But I've got an envelope here. This is for you. This is for you. This is a $5,000 check that I'm pleased to offer you.
Very good.
A little bit more on Tara first. Tara's career goals include building a legacy. She isn't shy about saying that starting that doesn't happen 10 years into a career, but even while you're at school. She firmly believes in being authentic, true to oneself, one's culture and history. She has great depth and skill, and according to the graduate program coordinator at SCAD, they said in a recommendation letter, Tara has emerged as one of the strongest students in the graduate program. In addition to possessing exceptional graphic communication and design abilities, Tara possesses strong capabilities in concept generation and visual and verbal presentation. Her projects are energetic, creative, and innovative, while also being functional and supportive of user needs. Most importantly, Tara's projects touch upon challenging cultural issues. In an attempt to bridge cultural divides and bring about understanding. Her most recent project, an MFA thesis, focuses on generating peace and reconciliation between US and Iraq. Tara, congratulations.
I don't know how I can follow all the amazing speeches that just went, but I'll try my hardest. So hard work and dedication have been my mantra since I started college in 2009. Grateful for the opportunity of a college education in the United States, I took the work ethic I gained from my upbringing in Barbados. It's not just sun and beaches, we work hard there too. And I implemented that in my undergraduate and graduate interior design degrees. I would like to start by thanking the hardworking and dedicated professionals and the professors at the Savannah College of Art and Design, both in Atlanta and Savannah and Lacoste, I did that a little bit too, for recognizing my talents and always pushing me to be the best designer I could possibly be. And almost everything I know about design to this point has been through them, and I've learned from these exceptionally talented educators. My involvement in IIDA has definitely shaped my career, and it allowed me to participate in some fantastic events and network with some wonderful people in the industry. I'd like to say a special thank you to IIDA Georgia for giving me the opportunity to volunteer and work on various committees and build my professional career with them. I am so incredibly humbled, grateful, and honored to be recognized by IIDA as the first ever Student of the Year. And this award certainly confirms that all those all-nighters in the studio have definitely paid off. Most of you in the audience that are designers can relate. And I am especially grateful for the recognition of my attempts to bridge cultural divides and bring about understanding between different groups of people through my design work. I think it's an amazing thing when you can merge what you feel is your ethical duty as a person on this earth, which for me is to provide peace and educate people about cultural differences, with your passion. For me, this is creating educational, emotionally significant, and unique interior environments. The epitome of this, as they mentioned, was my master's thesis, and I kind of graduated 2 weeks ago. I have one sort of elective class, but I'm just gonna say I graduated. But my master's thesis dealt with creating a sense of empathy for non-combatant Iraqi civilians in the mind of Western society through showcasing their stories in a way that reflects the holistic view of their culture beyond what is portrayed in the mass media. So a small undertaking there. I would like to thank OFS Brands for sponsoring the student scholarship. Going to college these days isn't the cheapest endeavor in the world, so this money helps immensely in relieving the burden of my school fees. Lastly, it would be remiss of me not to thank my parents for always encouraging me to pursue my passions from an early age. This award truly, truly means a great deal to me. Thank you all. Oh, yay, it's my flag everywhere.
There you go.
Awesome, thank
You had to have a flag. I stalked you on Facebook and saw that flag everywhere, so you had to have one here. That was a fantastic speech, Tara, and good luck with that almost graduated thing. It's all good. And now it is indeed an honor to recognize an individual who characterizes commitment to professionalism and the practice of design, and who has visibly demonstrated through service to IIDA a passionate dedication to the association, to her chapter, and to the mission of advancing the profession and advocating for excellence. It is indeed my pleasure to present Jane Hallinan, Associate IIDA, with the 2015 Member of the Year Award. Jane? Okay, you can do that. You ready? All right, you gotta stand here, I gotta talk about you a little bit. All right. Jane Hallinan, Associate IIDA, currently is the Pittsburgh City Center Director for the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware chapter. Wait a second, I have something for you too. There you go.
Thank you.
Under her leadership, this city center has been tremendously reinvigorated. Would you stop, Julio? Jane has launched a number of high-profile, innovative, and insightful events for members and the Pittsburgh design community at large. She recently spearheaded the first ever Women's Roundtable, also known as the Women's Kick-Ass Panel, which featured national and local panelists from our industry discussing their personal career path and how to succeed in this profession while maintaining a relatively balanced life. Jane was inspired to create this program after reading an article in IIDA's journal, Perspective Magazine. Thanks to Jane's inspiration, this program will expand and, much in the tradition of Leaders' Breakfast, travel to a number of cities in 2016 and 2017. Bank of America is going to be our partner for that endeavor, and we're thrilled because you inspired that happening. Being Member of the Year is about the impact that an individual has on their design community, and not necessarily their tenure in the trenches. and Jane's impact in Pittsburgh and on those around her has both scope and magnitude. Since graduating from the Art Institute in Pittsburgh in March 2012, so honestly, not that many days ago, and starting her first job at RSH Architects, about 4 hours after graduation, she started that first job, she has artfully and relentlessly used her significant abilities and talent to expand and grow her city center and create a brand recognized for value for IIDA in Pittsburgh. Jane is an avid mentor for students in local design programs, and she has increased the local involvement in IIDA's National Student Mentoring Week in her city center by 25%. Jane is a passionate advocate for interior design legislation in her state and is also a member of the Interior Design Legislative Coalition of Pennsylvania. She is also a guest critic for the Art Institute of Pittsburgh Interior Design Department and on the Curriculum Advisory Committee for the LaRoche College Interior Design Department, and she's a committee member for Girl Scouts of America. Jane, yep, right? Jane will also be stepping into the role of president-elect of her chapter. Her chapter leadership council colleague, Katie Hauser, IIDA, current president of the Ohio-Kentucky chapter, said this about Jane in her recommendation letter. Jane makes good waves, challenging the status quo, questioning the norm, and continually pushing those around her to challenge themselves to be better leaders and better designers and better people. Now, Katie Hauser herself is all about world domination. And for Katie to say that about Jane tells me if those two get together, and Katie's in Cleveland and Jane in Pittsburgh, God knows what's going to happen on Lake Erie. When I first met Jane, when she first came to her very first CLC, and we do a round-the-room thing, and everyone has to introduce themselves, and I saw this bright-eyed but exceptionally vivid red lipstick, I thought she looked kind of young. And in front of about 100 people, I was like, dude, how old are you? And she said, 21. And since then, she has been affectionately known as, throughout IIDA, I think, Forever 21. Even when she's not anymore. Julio and I are very honored to present Jane Hallinan with Member of the Year 2015. It's all yours.
Here we go, Steelers. Hail to Pitt. Let's go, Buccos, Penguins, and every other sports team that you can think of. Several of you know me as Forever 21, and even with 3.5 years of professional experience, I am still the youngest person in my firm. However, I am, in fact, older than IIDA, which just celebrated their 20th anniversary, and is really the new Forever 21. But other people may know me because I frequently talk about my identical twin sister, or because you want to know why I have the word Buick tattooed on the inside of my foot. The rest of you may know me for all things IIDA related, especially at my space and my place of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, while known for our sports teams, bridges, and Primanti Brothers sandwiches, may not be at the top of the design list. It is, however, growing with new design opportunities, growing with a new building in our skyline, and growing the design community with our Pittsburgh City Center. I'm extremely honored to be awarded with IIDA Member of the Year and to represent not only my city center, but also IIDA, PA, New Jersey, Delaware chapter, and this incredible association. Randy Pausch, a former professor at Carnegie Mellon University, said that the brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls aren't there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to show how badly we want something, because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. I'm positive that I can overcome obstacles like reviving an exhausted city center and coming one step closer to interior design legislation in my state, because my individual boat turns into an entire fleet when I have IIDA on my side. Thank you very much to Cheryl for both my nickname and for this award, to the International Board, Julio, Felice, and all of my friends, especially to IIDA members and industry leaders. Most of my closest friends are here in this room from other chapters across the country, who hold the most inspiring events and provide me with ideas for my city center and now for my chapter. As I am no longer 21, I am 24 and will be IIDA, PA, New Jersey, Delaware chapter president next month. Pittsburgh may be 7 hours from New York City, and we may be across the entire country from Los Angeles, but we always have been and always will be IIDA. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane, and congratulations again. Now, at this point, I would like to call to the stage the Chair of the College of Fellows, Vivek Avisonet, FIIDA.
Good afternoon. Election to the IIDA College of Fellows is conducted annually to provide a means of honoring the outstanding contributions and accomplishments of the interior design profession, the community, and the association by an IIDA professional member. IIDA Fellowship is the most prestigious honor that can be bestowed upon an individual design professional. I'm proud today to have the honor of introducing to you the 4 newest members of the College of Fellows. Will Julio Braga, Stanford Hughes, Suzanne Molina, and Joey Shimoda please join me on stage? Although you recognize them all and have some familiarity with their accomplishments, we'd like to give you their formal backgrounds. Julio Braga, a native of Buenos Aires, Argentina, received his diploma in architecture from the Universidad de Buenos Aires. In the early 90s, he moved to New York City, where he joined retail design firm Walker Group, CNI. He rapidly rose through the ranks and was named design director of that firm in 1996. In 1999, he established his own multidisciplinary design firm, Braga Oris Associates. In 2005, Julio joined IA Interior Architects as design director principal of the New York office. While at IA, he has driven the growth and development of the New York office, winning major international and domestic awards for the firm. In addition to being fluent in English, Spanish, and Italian, Julio is also fluent in the language of environmental branding and is a global recognized brand expert. His list of clients for whom he has completed corporate offices and global headquarters include Google, Ford Motor Company, Univision, KKR, Jones Lang LaSalle, Red Hat, Bank of Colombia, and JWT. According to David Morning, FIIDA, FAIA, President and CEO of IA, Julio's influence, vision, expertise, and stunning award-winning iconic design work on behalf of our clients have helped to build and shape IA's strong global presence and proficiency. Julio is a priceless asset to the firm and to the industry. May I present Julio Braga, FIIDA. Stanford Hughes has demonstrated expertise, commitment, and excellence to the design profession. He received his Bachelor of Architecture from the University of Oregon in 1972 and continued his studies in the Masters of Architecture program at the University of California at Berkeley in 1979. Prior to establishing Brayton Hughes Design Studios in 1989, he was with the San Francisco office of Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, where he was an associate partner and director of the interior design studio. As design principal at Brayton Hughes, Stanford's work includes numerous award-winning projects for hotels, offices, residences, and historic renovations. His hotel projects include the Ritz-Carlton Resort in Lake Tahoe, Cavallo Point in Sausalito, the Four Seasons Maui, and the Four Seasons Santa Barbara, and the recently completed Inn at the Presidio in San Francisco. In addition, Stanford has extensive experience in the adaptive reuse of historic buildings. He's been the project designer for the renovation of the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego, the Palace Hotel in San Francisco, and the Green Library at Stanford University. Stanford was honored with the Designer of the Year Award in 1996 from then Interiors Magazine, now Contract, and he was named Designer of Distinction by the San Francisco Design Center in 2010 and was inducted into the Hospitality Design Magazine Platinum Circle in 2012. As an esteemed educator, Stanford has taught design at numerous colleges and universities, including University of Pennsylvania, University of California at Berkeley, and the California College of the Arts, where he was chair of the Interior Architecture Department in the early 90s. He is also a registered architect and a fellow in the American Institute of Architects. Each of Stanford's considerable recommendation letters refer to him as a wonderful teacher, a mentor, a supremely talented designer, a gentleman of the highest order, and a deeply respected friend and colleague. May I present Stanford Hughes, F. IIDA. Suzanne Molina has demonstrated extraordinary commitment to the business of interior design and efforts to have the profession recognized, regulated, and respected. She is quite simply the best advocate that we have as interior designers, and the IIDA advocacy program has grown, expanded, and realized success in a dozen states because of Suzanne's tireless efforts. Advocacy and Suzanne are synonymous. Suzanne received her BA in environmental design from Parsons and has focused her practice in commercial interiors with an emphasis on corporate interiors and workplace design. As director for Clowder and Associates in Los Angeles, Suzanne is involved in operations, business development, and project management for the firm. Her advocacy expertise was honed as the Southern California Chapter VP of Legislative Affairs from 2006 to 2008. In subsequent years, she became president of the Southern California chapter and joined the IIDA International Board in 2011, where she distinguished herself across the country, providing counsel, guidance, and legislative testimony whenever asked. Tough fights have been fought, bills have been passed, and unity and cooperation rule the day when Suzanne Molina intervenes in advocating for interior designers. Often legislative efforts are exhausting and confusing, but Suzanne brings clarity and common sense to every legislative battle she confronts. Letters of recommendations, testament, and gratitude from designers, lobbyists, and coalitions from Michigan, California, Utah, Massachusetts, Florida, Illinois, New York, and Ohio all commended Suzanne's expertise and commitment. IIDA is also very grateful to you, Suzanne, for 2 decades of effort on behalf of our profession. I'm pleased to present Suzanne Molina, F. IIDA. Joey Shimoda is that rare blend of talented and visionary designer, deep and avid thinker, an all-around great guy who is respected by his clients, colleagues, friends, peers, and competitors. Joey earned a Bachelor of Architecture degree from California Polytechnic State University, and from there launched a career that included work experience with Morphosis and Frank Gehry Partners. Just prior to founding Shimoda Design Group, Joey worked with Lauren Rote as a senior design associate at Dane Mann Johnson Mendenhall. He then founded his own firm and within 2 years received the Emerging Firm Award from the Los Angeles chapter of the AIA for his outstanding contributions to the profession of architecture. He is prominently acknowledged as an architect that can transform interior spaces and revitalize existing buildings. In his letter of recommendation for Joey, John Sarnecki, honorary IIDA and editor-in-chief of Contract Magazine, notes that Joey has successfully led a small practice through a changing economy while maintaining client relationships that result in phenomenal projects. He is exceptional in his design talent, and the quality and breadth of his portfolio often transforms the mundane, and in turn, his sophisticated design of a given interior positively transforms the business of his client. Joey's work has been called compelling, intriguing, and influential. He created the global headquarters for Tom's Shoes in 2012 and worked directly with founders Blake Mycoskie and helped to guide him in the creation of a space that was a humble reflection of that company's charitable mission. The project started as an office space for 40, but by the completion of the project, the staff had increased to 250. His deep understanding of scale, growth, and brand allowed him extraordinary access to the corporate DNA of Tom's. His most recent project, The Collective at Playa Vista, began as a request to create 200,000 square feet of core and shell campus that was inspired by his interiors expertise in creative workplace. As further evidence of his insight and vision, Yahoo has just announced that The Collective will be the new home for its Los Angeles operations. Other significant client collaborations include Steelcase Global Innovation Center in Grand Rapids, the NBC Studios lot in Burbank, now called the Burbank Studios, the Steelcase Work-Life Center at the Merchandise Mart, the Mikimoto Flagship Boutique in the Regent Beverly Wilshire Hotel, and the Museum of Neon Art in Glendale, California. Joey generously gives back to the professional design community and has a long history as a design critic at USC, UCLA, Cal Poly, and Art Center College of Design. His energy and talent has been recognized with a myriad of awards, and most recently he was named Contract Magazine's Designer of the Year in 2013 and became a fellow in the American Institute of Architects in 2014. May I present Joey Shimoda, FIIDA, FAI. IIDA is honored to welcome these 4 outstanding design leaders into the College of Fellows. They each bring unique design perspective as well as a wide range of experience. My sincere congratulations to each and every one of you. Please let's congratulate our newest fellows as they return to their seats. Thank you. Congratulations. My term as the chair of College of Fellows comes to a close with this meeting. My thanks to the entire college and to IIDA. I'm pleased to announce that Jim Williamson will succeed me as the next chair. Congratulations, Jim.
That was perfect. Thank you, Vivica. And I hope everyone will stay and toast Julio, Stanford, Suzanne, Joey, Vivica, and Jim, and all of our fellows and all of our award winners and honorees at the VIP reception that will immediately follow this meeting. Now, I'd like to introduce the chair of the IIDA Foundation, Jim Williamson, FIIDA.
Keep it going, right? Congratulations to the new fellows. Good afternoon, everyone. The IIDA Foundation is a not-for-profit 501c3 philanthropic organization whose primary mission is to advance interior design through education, research, and knowledge, and to benefit IIDA and the interior design profession. The foundation and its board of trustees work in collaboration with the International Board to support the strategic plan of the association. I want to thank the foundation's board of trustees for their ongoing dedication this year and the efforts throughout the year, and send my appreciation to Amalia Moer, IIDA, whose term has ended. I am pleased to welcome David Friedland, IIDA, Carmen Wooten Preston, IIDA, to the Board of Trustees, who will join Katie Cavallo, IIDA, Cynthia Hovorka, IIDA, and myself, together with Felice Silverman, FIIDA, who will be the 2015-2016 chair of the trustees. The foundation's goal during the past year was to continue to promote our ongoing programs and to identify and fund one signature initiative that connects the practice of design to tangible value. The IIDA Foundation is pleased to have provided funding and support to CIDA, the Council for Interior Design Accreditation, in support of its ongoing development of accreditation standards. CIDA's mission is to provide the basis for future excellence in the interior design profession by setting standards for interior design education and accrediting programs that meet those standards. The 2014 Designing for Future campaign was the Foundation's 12th annual member campaign, and the IIDA chapters and members continued to demonstrate their generous support. The following chapters met or exceeded their goal for this year, which is a major undertaking, and the trustees would like to acknowledge and thank the following chapters: Alabama, Georgia, Great Plains, Indiana, Michigan, New England, Northern California, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware, Rocky Mountain, Southern California, and Texas, Oklahoma. Congrats. IIDA members benefit from foundation initiatives such as the NCIDQ Tuition Reimbursement Fund, which provides associate members with an opportunity for reimbursement for the cost of taking and passing the NCIDQ exam. In total, 119 IIDA members from 26 chapters have been recipients of that fund. Additionally, the Sustainable Design Education Fund serves to advance the awareness and knowledge of sustainable design. 41 IIDA members have received reimbursement upon passing the LEED accreditation exam. The Foundation is grateful to IIDA industry member Wilson Art for their support with the advancement of professional development of our student members. The Wilson Art Essay Competition invites our student members who participate in Student Mentoring Week to submit an essay describing their day-long experience of being mentored at an interior design firm, and their mentors demonstrated leadership, innovation, and inspiration to enhance their education. The winner of the 2015 Wilson Art Competition and recipient of a $1,000 cash award is Rachel Knox, student IIDA, studying at Kansas State University. I invite you to visit the IIDA website to read Rachel's essay about the valuable experience of mentoring during IIDA Mentoring Week. With the ongoing support and generosity of IIDA members, the IIDA Foundation will continue to provide tangible and original benefits to its members. The trustees are grateful to everyone for their generous participation, and we encourage you to visit the Foundation's website for further details and information. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Williamson. Now, we'd like to acknowledge the outstanding work being done by IIDA chapters. Presentation of individual chapter awards were made Friday night at a CLC celebration generously hosted by Millikan. Acknowledgement of those awards will be published in our Neocon issue of Design Matters and posted on the IIDA website. But we'd be completely and totally remiss if we didn't acknowledge and celebrate and recognize the chapters that received their awards on Friday evening. I will now do an interpretive dance to, seriously, to illustrate those awards. No? No dance? All right. So instead of my interpretive dance, because my husband is like, oh, sweet Jesus, no. Here's a slide with the winning chapters. Congratulations. If you won, I'll personally come to your chapter and do my interpretive dance for you. This year, we're holding 2 awards for the big finale, and now's that time. Chapter of the Year Award, the Chapter of the Year Award will recognize a large chapter and a small chapter. Ready? All right. The chapter I'm going to tell you about stood out consistently to the judges for their overall excellence. According to the judges, this chapter was simply strong and consistent in so many ways and demonstrated a high level of commitment across the board. Strong, consistent messaging, strong, consistent branding, intriguing events, And Suzanne Molina, I want you to help me figure this one out. A sexy spin on advocacy. Because you don't always hear sexy and advocacy in the same sentence. Resulted, is that right, Carrie Johnson? A sexy spin on advocacy, I had to say it one more time, resulted in increased membership and value for that chapter and those members. This chapter tells a great story and delivered results on its strategies and goals. The small chapter of the year is presented to the Rocky Mountain chapter. Yep, so once you finish squealing and happy dancing, come on down. I know, right? Do a sexy spin on advocacy right here. No pun intended, truly a rock star of a chapter. Oh, that was bad, I know. Now, for large chapter of the year. According to the judges, this chapter very successfully articulated its abilities to meet the important and relevant goals for itself, for members, and for the industry at large. This extremely well-organized, clear, and coherent submission communicated the chapter's strength and its mission to continue to become stronger, more meaningful, and more relevant. Clearly defined goals paid off for this chapter, and when you add that to strong financial performance and a robust year of programming, it might add up to Chapter of the Year. This chapter is data-driven, it sets goals, it manages expectations, and it constantly and consistently increases member numbers and is an acknowledged leader in their design community. I'm happy to know I know this for a fact, because I stood by them through a lot of drama. This chapter has overcome some significant obstacles and a minor crisis or three, and has gone through an aggressive rebuilding and realignment, and now they are the large chapter of the year. Congratulations to New England. Surprise. Congratulations. Congratulations, Ms. Clinton. Congratulations, let's call you Whitey. All right. That's awesome. So the young gentleman in the purple pants, the very preppy looking young man from New England, whose name is Stephen Wallace, but his nickname, and I just said I refuse to call you by your nickname, but I just have to say it to 200 people. It's Whitey. You are from Boston. I went to school in Boston. I totally know the gig. Whitey. Like, that's okay to say. All right. All right, Julio, come on back. We have some very important international board business to conduct. It's all you.
Congratulations to Rocky Mountain and New England. I would like to thank the 2014-2015 board. Thank you for your extraordinary service to the board and the association. And I would especially like to thank Vivica, Suzanne, and Enrique, whose board service with IIDA is ending with this term. Thank you for all your incredible contributions and insight. I would now like to introduce the newly inducted vice presidents for the 2015-2016 Board of Directors who were inducted earlier today. Will you please rise as I call your name? Scott Herlinger, IIDA. Marlene Luriano, IIDA. Edwin Beltran, IIDA. Julio Braga, IIDA is listed there. Jeff Fenwick, Industry IIDA. James Kerrigan, IIDA. Felix Silverman, FIIDA. Doug Shapiro, Industry IIDA. Jim Williamson, FIIDA. Please be recognized by your peers. Scott and Marlene, would you join me at the podium for the President and President-elect oath? We have to stand somewhere here. No? This is good enough. Marlene, as President-elect, you shall spend the year in preparation to assume the highest office of the Association. You shall serve as the alternate presiding officer of the Association. You will support the President in all your actions and act as a special advisor on projects, programs, and all strategic and budgetary matters affecting the Association. You will be highly visible, and your actions will greatly impact the image and credibility of the Association. Do you accept these responsibilities? She said yes. Thank you, Marlene. You may join the other board members. Here we go. There's no way back. Scott, in electing you president, the association has conferred upon you great responsibility. You shall see that the bylaws of the association are enforced. You will preside all meetings of the board of directors, and you shall see that all orders and resolutions of the board are carried out. As the most visible representative of the association within the industry, you shall keep the purposes and mandate of IIDA foremost. Do you accept these responsibilities?
I do.
Now, I'm delighted and honored to present IIDA's new president, Scott Herlinger, to deliver his presidential remarks.
Finally. Been sitting there for an hour and a half. Before I get very up close and personal about my personal life, and I promise to keep everyone that I'll talk slower because I tend to talk very fast. So I'll make sure I pull it back a notch or two. So to begin, I would like to take a moment to welcome all of our current IIDA membership, my family members, my fellow Nelson teammates, and the many enthusiastic supporters and close friends in the audience today. I would also like to pay a special welcome to the many esteemed IIDA fellows that are with us or have joined us online, and again, welcome to the 2015 IIDA annual meeting. Again, I am Scott Herlinger, your new president of the 2015 Board of Directors for the International Interior Design Association. I would like to personally welcome our esteemed returning board membership and also give a special welcome to our newest board members, Edwin Beltran, IIDA from NBBJ, James Kerrigan, IIDA from Jacobs, as well as Jeff Fenwick, President and COO of Tarkett, and Doug Shapiro, Director of A&D for OFS Brands, who both joined us as industry representatives to the International Board of Directors. I would also like to thank Julio Braga for an outstanding year as our now immediate past president. How does it feel, Julio? And I'm looking forward to another great year as we continually expand, unify, and elevate the practice of interior design. I could not be more proud, completely honored, and thrilled to take on the role of the next president of IIDA, the Association for the Commercial Interior Design Industry. I can honestly say that assuming this position is truly a culminating event in my life. Looking back, I've always been somewhat obsessed with design and what I consider appropriate order. Perhaps even as a child, as you can see by the next image, I was completely obsessed with my hair and attire from a small age. Notice there is plaid in that outfit. I can credit some of this to my mother's keen eye, but also a fair amount to my 100% German heritage. True fact, my name for the half of the first day I was born was Wolfgang. Then when my parents decided that name might be too Germanic, not in my best interest going forward, they named me Steve. Then they figured out Steve wasn't quite it and Scott was the most fitting. Looking back, I kind of wish they'd stayed with Wolfgang. That would have been awesome. Growing up on a dairy farm in a small Germanic town called Crown, an hour north of Minneapolis, Minnesota, was quite pastoral. I, along with my 2 older sisters, attended a very small German Lutheran church school for 8 years. I emphasize small in that for 3 of those years, I was the only student in my grade level, grades 6 through 8. This autonomy allowed me to progress at a very fast rate. I kind of burned through everything, perhaps laying the seed to my independent streak that it still drives me today. Upon graduation from elementary school, I attended St. Francis High School. I can truly say that I did not enjoy high school, partially due to the fact that at the age of 13, I was needed at home, and due to an illness that ultimately claimed my father, I was elevated to take control of the family dairy farm for the next 4 years. I learned a lot, saw way too much, got up way too early, way too often, and ultimately missed a fair amount of school, but in the end, I graduated top 10 in my class of 368. Luckily, due to the insertion of my stepfather, I was able to exit the farm and attend the University of Minnesota, having paid my debt to the agrarian way of life. In college, I joined a fraternity named Phi Kappa Psi. Nothing more will be said of that at this point. Perhaps over a drink, I may share a story, but nothing more right now. Within college, for some reason that I still cannot recollect, I studied in the field of dentistry. I continued down this path for 3 years, at which time I suddenly realized that I needed to change my major to interior design, and quickly found out that no, most of my credits would not transfer. However, due to a great counselor and a little expert strategizing, we managed to make things work out. 3.5 years later, I graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Interior Design with 3 very, very useful minors: physics, art history, and chemistry. To this day, I cannot remember a stitch of chemistry. Upon graduation, I gained my first job as a contract employee in a commercial design firm called Emmert Design through a friend who is in the audience today. Yes, the power of networking. Thanks, Jody. I hand-drafted details and floor plans and created many finished boards for which I'm still quite well known. As that firm grew, it later changed its name to eDesign to accommodate new partners Claudia Reichert and Rick Sutton. This firm finally went on to become one of the first merger partners with Nelson back in 2006. Shortly after that merger, I became the design director of the Minneapolis office, which is the position that I still currently hold today. The Minneapolis Nelson office is a studio composed of 40 awesome teammates focused on architecture, commercial, and hospitality interiors. On a side note, those 2 new partners that I worked for back in my younger days are now my current partners in running the Minneapolis office. To date, I'll have worked with Claudia 23 years this month, and Rick 18 years. My guess is we must get along, or else they haven't told me something. As mentioned, I'm the current design director of the Minneapolis office of Nelson. At Nelson, we operate under a unifying principle, focused on creation, passion to deliver. This similar passion to design, to create, to energize, to grow, to create engagement are my passions. I understand the power of the visual enthrallment and lure of interior design for design's sake, but I also understand the business behind the design. I realize what it takes to create and support a team of talented designers, as well as create and support a powerful revenue stream. Because without that revenue stream, you won't have a team of talented designers. It has remained important to me as a design director to properly influence a team, but more importantly, support an environment of creative autonomy with increased engagement. Engagement is a term that I love and use a great deal. Engagement is transformative and powerful, and without it, nothing remarkable truly ever happens. To me, nothing is more exciting than to witness a designer go from a peripheral team member to an engaged and integrative force. Projects are affected and go from inevitable to admirable. I've experienced this transformation within my office, but also within IIDA, at the local level when I was the president of the Northland chapter back in 2008, 2009. When I joined the Northland board, I joined with the caveat that as a team, we needed to reevaluate our direction, re-energize our brand within the design community as well as the community at large, and reconnect with our membership and the national IIDA mission. As a team of engaged board members, we made great strides towards those goals, and as a result, the Northland chapter was awarded the Small Chapter of the Year in 2009. An award never before bestowed on that chapter. It was truly awesome, just like you just experienced. That experience with the Northland Board started my current path with the International Association, from a three-year membership on the IIDA Board Nominating Committee, to Vice President on the International Board, to standing here in front of all of you as your next president. As I've mentioned, I'm more than honored to hold this position. It is truly a lifetime achievement for which I'll always be proud. In this position, I promise to advocate for advancement in education, design excellence, legislation, leadership, accreditation, and community outreach that truly increases the value and understanding of interior design as a profession. In addition to this, I will also look to focus on the following initiatives within my term. Continue the fine work of our former President Julio Braga and our current new President-elect Marlene Liriano to further the advancement of IIDA internationally. I feel our greatest growth as an organization and potential opportunity for increased sharing of knowledge and collaboration is with our Latin and European friends, where much good work has been established. For example, as previously mentioned, our new collaboration relationship with three renowned Italian associations, ADI, OAPPC, and CNAPPC. These mutual beneficial relationships will allow for an increased cultural exchange of information between the organizations in such areas as design and planning, project management, and project financing. Also, it is my deep desire for the IIDA to continue to provide a meaningful footbridge for each and every designer within our organization. I understand the power of a guiding hand, an experienced voice, or a welcoming integrative culture. It is of the utmost importance to keep our association membership connected and continuously elevated in our culture, programs, and competitions. It is my duty, as well as of all the combined membership, to commit to the advancements and initiatives if we are truly to impact the health and well-being of the profession, as well as people's everyday lives. Thanks so much for allowing me to speak to you today. Have a wonderful afternoon and a great NeoCon.
Thank you so much, Scott, for sharing your professional vision, your personality, and your baby picture with us. You left out, one of the things you need to know about Scott is I have never seen him not wearing plaid. And he made it really subtle today, but there's just a very light little plaid going on, piping, but oh my God, some of the jackets you would not believe.
We'll build up as the year goes.
We'll just ramp it on up. So the part of my life that gets really interesting is that I have a new boss every year. It's a great and terrible thing. I'm going from IIDA, blah, blah, Cheryl, blah, 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 to awesome. It's 6 a.m. Where are you, Cheryl? Yep, it's gonna be awesome. Morning person, not so much. Two things before we officially let you leave. We're hosting aforementioned VIP reception. I have no idea what the weather is doing. CNN said anything could happen in Chicago today weather-wise with this unstable front. The good news is if there's a tornado going on, we are in the basement right now. So we're all good, and then we'll just drink. Every single one of you is invited to attend the VIP reception and celebrate with us. Those of you who won awards, were honored, have some hardware, have some frame stuff, and the International Board, we just want to do some very quick obligatory photos. So we'd like for you guys to come up on stage, and we'll do it very quickly. And clearly, we have so much to look forward to tonight with Cool, tomorrow with the beginning of NeoCon, and the coming year with this phenomenal new board. under the leadership of Scott Herlinger. Now, Scott, oh, and one other thing. Interior design saved the world from a dentist named Wolfgang.
Very scary.
Can't think of anything more terrifying than that. Now, Scott, for your very first order of business as president, would you please announce the 2016 annual meeting?
So I'm pleased to announce the 2016 IIDA annual meeting scheduled for Sunday, June 12th, 2016. I wish you all success in the coming year in your personal and professional endeavors. And now, please join us and IIDA in celebrating today's honorees and VIP reception, which begins right now.